All right, I wanted to show you guys another cool tool you can use for practicing tactics. If you go to chess.com, you can register for a free account. And one of the things you get to do once a day is play Puzzle Rush. This is called Puzzle Rush. And there's different, if you go to puzzles, you'll find Puzzle Rush and Puzzle Battle. Puzzle Rush has a couple of modes. There's a timed mode where you can see how many puzzles you can get right in 5 minutes. If you're in a hurry, that's a great one to test your skill at, and especially seeing how quickly you can find the patterns. This one's called Survival, which basically you get to do as many as you can until you've missed three, or 3 strikes and you're out. My personal record is 42 on this. Let's see if I can beat it. These problems start out really easy and they get a little bit harder as they go along. And let's go ahead and see what we have here for a tactic. Actually, for a very first problem, this tactic is a little challenging. Usually it's a hanging piece or a quick checkmate. You should see a fork here. Hopefully you see the royal fork. Knight takes bishop, forks king and queen, king gets out of check, and we grab the queen. Okay, see, that was a problem that was rated 145. The problems range from about 100 up to, you can go up into the 2000s if you could keep it going that far. All right, this one here, hopefully you recognize this pattern. This is a back rank mate. If queen checks here, the rook must block, and he has no help, so that's checkmate. Here we have another fork. Hopefully you see this one. Knight takes, we win a pawn, forking king and rook, and we're going to win the rook. Okay, you can see the problems are getting a little bit harder. This one just looks like a hanging piece. Sometimes it's just a piece is hanging. Always be looking for loose pieces and pieces that are undefended and can be taken for free. I'm just going to grab that bishop. All right, this looks like a skewer. Hopefully you see it. If queen checks the king right here, the king cannot move to this square to defend the queen because the pawn's covering. When he steps here, we'll have a free queen. So this is a good pattern to remember. White to move here. Wow, black is in a tough spot. Queen's got this diagonal, rook's got this file, and the knight is about to deliver this check, and that's going to be game over. Checkmate. Okay. This looks like a counting problem. I have 2 pieces covering this square. Black only has 1. So if I take, rook takes, king takes, I'm winning a rook. Well, I should probably fail the problem for not having anticipated my opponent's move there. I think what I'm going to do is move to a place where I can continue to defend the rook and threaten the knight. And when he takes, at least I'm going to get something out of it. Okay. Let's see what we got going on here. This looks like fork attack. We've got this pawn here is hanging, and if I take it, I'm attacking both king and rook. And I think I'm just going to win the rook. There we go. And looks like we've got this check here, which is going to lead to mate. Right there. Yep. And got threat on our knight, or a threat on our rook from the knight. But I think we can actually skewer the queen, have her step out of the way, and then we have 2 attackers on that knight. So I think we're winning a piece here. Yep. Oops, we just got checked, and it looks like we're losing our knight. Oh, that's like, we can just grab the queen. Now the challenge is getting back to make sure we can cover this square. And to do that, we're going to have to get a little tricky, because I can't do it in one move. And if I take more than 2 moves, then he's going to promote to a queen. But I get this check here, and then I can bring the knight down and cover the queen in the square. Okay, here, this is a great pattern to remember. Somebody thinks they just got something for free in the center, but oops, queens are powerful. Here's a fork, and you lost your knight. Okay. This looks like Zugzwang. I think where we're going with this is, if king moves here, the white king can't stay on this rank, has to drop back, and then I'm going to move in. So I think simply by stepping aside, I'm gaining territory. And now I can force him to step back again because I have a free move. This pawn is my savior right here. It allows me to put him in Zugzwang again. I get to push that, and now I get to come in again. So you can see these problems are getting a little harder. We're up to about 700. Okay, this is a standard pattern. You should remember this check. White thinks he's okay. He blocks with the pawn. The knight can, of course, take because this pawn is pinned. So check, grab it, you win the rook. And what do we have here? You could pin that bishop. That looks tasty. I don't see any other imminent threats. Let's go ahead and just pin that bishop. Pin it and win it. That's actually a free knight. Queen can take knight because this pawn's pinned. If pawn takes, then notice the queen is loose. Totally loose. No one defending her. So I get a free knight. And what's going on here? I don't know what would happen if I take this bishop. Take. If queen takes, then I win the bishop. If pawn takes, then I get a fork and I win the rook. I think this is productive. Let's try it. And then I think this is the winning move. We win the rook on a fork. Cool. Boy, this looks like mate and maybe not. Queen here forces king here. Bishop check. King comes out here. And then knight check is mate. I think this is mate in 1, 2, 3. Let's try it. Check. Check. And then the knight has the final check. Pawn has these 2 squares. Ouch. Okay, what do we got here? I think rook over is threatening mate. And if king tries to run, he still can't sneak out here because of this pawn. Does white have any counterplay? I don't see it. Let's try that. And I'm not worried about that because that's checkmate. What do we got here? Oh, I think we can pin that queen. Pin it and win it. Pin to the king. Why don't I go ahead and take that? Bishop takes. And then I get to clean up these pawns. Bam. This pawn alone. Is that going to be enough? I think it's going to work. Let's try it. Takes, takes. I think I grab this pawn and I'm good. Yep, I was worried about that. But I think I can just hold it. Yep. Boy, this is interesting. I think this is interference. If I push this pawn, this queen can no longer defend this bishop. Now, the question is there some sort of counterplay here? Boom. What if bishop takes? Pawn takes. Queen still hanging. That looks pretty promising to me. The other thing is we have a distraction here, but this doesn't force the queen off this diagonal. She could back off, and I think it's interference with the pawn. Let's try it. And that is black's best move. Should I take with the knight or the rook? I think I'm taking with the knight, because if I take with the rook, bishop takes knight. So I'm taking with the knight. Yep. And let's see what we got here. I see a pawn fork, but I don't know if it's effective. Pawn here forks queen and rook, but if knight takes, this pawn can't take because it's pinned, and if I capture with the queen, the rook takes, and then this rook checks. King here, rook check, wins the rook here. I don't know if that's enough to win. Well, I think it does work, because if pawn push, knight takes, and the rook can take first, and then if rook takes, queen takes, now the pawn's unpinned. So I think this pawn fork does work. Let's hit it. We're going to take with the rook. Now we can take with the queen, and it all works. Good. Let's see. I think I take with the rook first, and the reason is if pawn takes, then when the bishop recaptures, check, boom, and we're going to pick up the rook. And we'll have two bishops versus a rook. And black will find that really annoying. I think that's going to work. Let's try it. Yep. But if I check, king has to go here, and then there's this rook check, and king has to go here, and then there's this queen mate. All right, let's try it. And this rook check comes in, and this is just mate. Good. Okay, we're up to 13-16. They're getting harder. Bishop defends, so can this pawn just march? Possibly, if I move, boom, boom, promotes. I could promote to a knight with a check. And if I'm fast enough, then maybe I can capitalize on this before black gets to use his new queen. I have the advantage of not having my king on the back rank, so black's not promoting with a check. That sounds a little scary. I promote to a knight, then king here. Boy, I don't know if that's enough. If I promote to a queen, maybe I promote to a queen anyway, because black doesn't have any immediate checks. There's not a single check on the board that black can find. So I think I'm going to do this, and I'm going to promote to a queen. Ouch, lost. That was not it. Okay, first one wrong. Got 25 right before I got my first one wrong. This looks interesting. If queen takes, king goes in the corner, and then what's my follow-up? If bishop takes, and king goes in the corner, then I have all sorts of shenanigans with queen a3, check, king here, discovered attack, being pretty much mate. I think I'm taking with the bishop. Let's try it. Yep. Okay. White is going to find this really annoying. White thinks he's safe, but I think if the queen sacrifices on h2, king is forced here, and simply rook over. The only way out of checkmate is to block with the bishop, which gets captured. So I think this is a queen sacrifice. Let's try it. Boom, boom, boom. Bishop blocks. Checkmate. Good. What do we have going on here? Queen check here brings the king back. Then what do? Actually, I think queen check here, king over, and then a rook lift because my back rank is pretty safe. Rook comes up threatening over here, and then the knight's got to do something. Somebody's got to do something to stop. Check. Mate here, maybe knight goes here. Boom. All right, let's try this. Boom. Look up. Now I can't check here, but I'll just win the knight. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Is that the best? I think that's the best I've got. Take the knight. And then white's still in trouble. Yep. Okay. What's going on here? Is this just checkmate? If queen, I think this is just checkmate because if the rook sacks in the corner, it attracts the king to this square. This is a tactic called attraction. So rook here, check, king must go here. Now the queen can come in with a check, and the black queen doesn't have an opportunity to take this pesky pawn. And on the next move after king here, I checkmate. So let's try that. Boom. Check. Mate. What's going on here? Oh, lots going on here. I think I'm winning a bishop. Let's try this. Queen takes, rook takes, check, bishop takes, because now the rook is no longer on the back rank. So I traded queens, I traded rooks, and I won a bishop. Let's try that. Yep. Make sure I get the right moves. Boom. And we win the bishop. Good. What is going on here? Bishop takes, queen takes. This pawn's pinned. So knight here actually forks queen and bishop, and if the queen wants to back off, now I have two hitting that bishop, and I'm winning that bishop. But I gotta throw the fork first. And that's fine. If you wanna take the bishop, then I get the queen. Okay? Alright, wait to move. Oh, here's a devious little move. King here threatens checkmate in one because I'm taking the opposition. And of course, black will just check me. But the bishop can block that check, and then there's no way to avoid checkmate on the next move without giving up the rook. Let's try that. I think that's deadly. Yep, let's block it. Yep, and we win. Good. Okay. This looks like attraction, skewer. Rook takes, king takes, bishop check. Boom, we're going to win this rook over here. So I think we are winning the exchange. Let's try this. Pop, pop, grab that rook. Good. Okay. If that knight wasn't there, I'd have checkmate. But if I take and knight takes and rook check, then the only way to stop me is for the knight to come back, and then knight takes, and this knight is still covering that square even though the pawn's gone. Ouch. Game over. Let's see what we got here. Got this bishop check. King goes over. And then queen comes up, threatening mate here. If knight moves. But then I also have this square, because the knight's defending that square. So bishop check forces king in the corner, and when the queen comes up here to threaten mate on this square, the knight has to move so that the queen can defend it, but the knight is also defending this square where I can mate. It's just too much for black. And let's see what we got. And that right there is going to lead to mate. Yep. Good. Boy, a lot going on here. My queen's hanging. Black's under a lot of pressure. Oh, this looks really crazy. I'm looking at this rook check. Rook takes pawn, check. Because the queen has this diagonal, the only way out of that check is for the bishop to take. King can't take because the knight is supporting it, so when bishop takes, amazingly enough, knight check is mate. There's no way out of that because the bishop is no longer protecting h7. Ouch, watch this. Wow, hard to believe. Checkmate. All right, what do we got going on here? This looks interesting. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen here, check. King goes here, here. All right, this one's tough. I'm just going to have to go for it. I've got this knight. Knight takes, clearing this file. Pawn takes, queen check, king over. Queen takes. At the very least, I get 2 pawns for a knight, and I get the king under a lot of pressure. Let's just try it. I don't know if this is it, but check. And check. And then, where's the follow-up? Is it rook right here? Threatening mate. I think it's rook here. Ouch! All that and I lost it. Okay. All right, we're getting up into the tough ones. That was a 2000 level problem. Let's see, I got one more chance before this is over. Let's try this. All right, here I don't want to kick the knight because that knight would be super happy to just go right there and fork my pinned bishop and my rook. He'd love to get kicked. But if I kick the king and he tries to hold on to this knight, he goes, here, I've got another pawn to kick him again. And at that point, he's got to step away. So I think this is a distraction. I've got to do it twice, though. Let's just see how this goes. Boom. And then I got to hit you again. And now nobody's defending that knight. And now black's winning. Okay, 37. 37 is my lucky number. Let's see if we can keep it going. Wait to move here. If I take, king takes, can I get my king out in front to promote this pawn in time? Because if I don't, I've got to do something here, because if a rook takes, pawn takes, king takes, it's a draw. So, is that enough? Takes. I'll get the diagonal opposition. Black king goes here. I go here. I actually think I can promote this. Let's try it. And I got to take the diagonal opposition. This is very important. If I go here, I lose because black takes the opposition. So I got to go here. So when he moves here, I get to take the opposition. And now I'm going to get to promote that pawn. Okay. That is an endgame tactic that you have to study and know. Hey, cool. I got one that was 2,000, rated over 2,000. All right, let's see if I calculated correctly. Can I take this rook and avoid perpetual checks to keep the win? Nope, I can't. I miscalculated. All right, well, 38 problems. Not too bad. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Check it out. Get yourself a chess.com membership if you haven't got one already. Try Puzzle Rush and see how many you can get before 3 strikes, you're out. Take it easy, guys.